and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given an opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda item is for the chairperson to read the item from the agenda. The board is given an opportunity to comment on the issue and/or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate, and a roll call vote will follow. We are called to order. Would everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Gary, would you call the roll, please?
Thompson.
Present by Zoom.
Patton.
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
Item 6 on our agenda is approval or amendment of the agenda. I'll entertain motions on this item, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve the agenda as printed.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion or comments? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
Item 7 on our agenda this morning is a proclamation of the October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Marshall County. Tori, if you would like to read this proclamation, please feel free to do so.
Thank you. Tori Cuellar with the Marshall County Attorney's Office. Proclamation of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Marshall County. Whereas home should be a place of warmth, unconditional love, tranquility, and security, and for most of us, home and family can indeed be counted among our greatest blessings. Tragically, for many Americans, these blessings are tarnished by violence and fear. Whereas every 9 seconds, a woman in the United States is assaulted by an intimate partner. Whereas 1 in every 3 teenagers, 1 in every 4 women, and 1 in every 6 men will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Whereas an average of 3 women are murdered by intimate partners in the United States every day, and a person experiencing strangulation in a relationship is 7 times more likely to be murdered by their partner. And according to the American Psychological Association, the presence of a gun in a domestic violence situation increases the risk of homicide by 500%. Whereas, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics Crime Data Brief, in intimate partner violence, women accounted for 85% and men accounted for 15% of survivors of intimate partner violence. Whereas women and men are not only targets, children, the elderly, family pets, and responding law enforcement officers are counted among the survivors. Whereas according to a study by Break the Silence, witnessing domestic violence is the strongest risk factor in transmitting violent behavior from one generation to the next. Whereas according to the National Resource Center on Domestic Violence, approximately 23% of LGBTQ men and 50% of LGBTQ women experience abuse at the hands of intimate partners. Whereas domestic violence costs an estimated $8.3 billion annually in medical care, mental health services, and lost productivity on the job. Women, men, and children living with domestic violence suffer higher rates of physical injury, chronic health problems, depression, PTSD, attempted suicide, substance abuse, behavior problems for children, and homelessness. Whereas survivors of violence should have access to medical and legal services, counseling, sheltering, transitional housing, and other supportive services so they can escape the cycle of domestic abuse. Whereas we as a county encourage survivors and their families to seek assistance from appropriate survivor service organizations, including Access, Luna, and other programs and state coalitions. Whereas the Iowa Domestic Violence Helpline is 1-800-770-1650, and the Access Crisis Hotline is 1-855-983-4555. 4641. Whereas it is important to recognize the importance of the compassion and dedication of individuals who serve survivors of domestic violence and their families, including local programs, state coalitions, national organizations, criminal and juvenile justice agencies, healthcare providers, law enforcement, allied professionals, and survivor service organizations. Whereas our community must make ending domestic violence a priority. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Marshall County Board of Supervisors proclaim the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Marshall County and urge our citizens to observe the month by becoming aware of the tragedy of domestic violence and supporting those who work towards its end.
Thank you, Tori. Tori, would you take a moment and please explain to the public what you do for Marshall County and how you help in this manner?
Thank you. I am the felony domestic violence and sex abuse prosecutor. We are very fortunate that we have 2 domestic violence prosecutors and work closely with several organizations within our community to help combat domestic violence and support survivors within our community. Jordan Gaffney, the county attorney, is very supportive of these efforts, as is Sarah Tepper, the first assistant. We're fortunate to have with us today members of our office, as well as Sue Tufty, who is the representative from Access in our community response team. And we are grateful to do this important work together.
Thank you very much for your service and good work, Tori.
Thank you for the
Gentlemen,
board for taking time to recognize us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, very important work. Gentlemen, I'll entertain motions on this item, please.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to accept the proclamation of October Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
And Mr. Chair, I would second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments on this item? There being none. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to comment that this is an important issue for our community, and everybody deserves to be safe at home and safe and in their families. And that's really what we're taking the time out here to recognize, and recognizing that domestic violence is an issue that we have in our community. There are a lot of folks working hard to prevent and stop domestic violence. Tori listed off a few of those. We have Access, Luna, the Marshall County Sheriff's Office, Marshalltown Police Department, Impact, State Center Police Department, our office, and anybody needing help is welcome to contact our office, contact law enforcement, contact the Access hotline, or contact the Domestic Violence Hotline. And anybody who's listening and walking through domestic violence in their life right now, you don't have to go through this alone. There's somebody willing to help you and somebody willing to walk through this journey with you, and please reach out. Don't walk through this alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Any other comments on this item? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Thompson,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
Okay. Item 8 is the approval of our regular session minutes of September 28th. Approve the claims as audited and authorize the county auditor and recorder to issue payment of the same. The listings of claims paid at this meeting and all other claims paid in the current month will be published as part of the first meeting in the following month. We have an approval for a manure management plan for Burt Farm Livestock number 60557 at 2747 178th Street, Marshalltown, converting farrowing to finishing. We have a file of auditor recorder's quarterly report for July through September, dated 10/6/2021, totaling $73,360.65. Of that is records management fees of $1,771, e-commerce fees of $1,771, and general basic of $69,818.65. I'll entertain motions on the consent agenda, please.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the consent agenda as printed.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as printed. Any further discussion or comments on this item? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Thompson,
Yes,
Benton,
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
motion carries. Item number 9 on our agenda this morning is to approve the new hire for the Sheriff's Department, Jailer Alec Jensen, permanent full-time, $21.08 an hour, with a start date on or after October 18th, 2021. Sheriff, do you have any comments on this item?
Yes, this is going to be a replacement from retired jailer Steve Stark. Mr. Jensen comes from our neighbors north, the Hardin County Sheriff's Office, where he's had 3 years of certified jail experience. We're lucky to have him come join our team at the Sheriff's Office.
I'll entertain motions on this item, please.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the new hire, Sheriff's Department Jailer Alec Jensen, permanent full-time, $21.08 an hour, with a start date on or after October 18th of 2021.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve this hire. Any further discussion or comments? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Thompson,
Yes,
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
motion carries. Item 10 on our agenda this morning is to approve the amendment of the 2021 Marshall County Flexible Spending Plan. Discussion and possible action. Nan, would you bring us up to speed on this issue, please?
Yes, basically, folks plan when they do their flex spending enrollment. They do that in November timeframe of the year prior. So in November of 20, people did it for the calendar year 21. Due to the uptick in COVID, this also happened a year ago. We didn't have any requests for this a year ago, but we have folks requesting that their flex be able to be carried over a year because their elective surgery that they were planning, they will not perform this year.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a change in plans on how medical services are being provided, and we want to allow our folks to carry it over into calendar 22.
That certainly is very reasonable. I'll
Yeah, it
entertain
really
motion. Entertain
Mr.
motions on this item, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve amendment of the 2021 Marshall County Flexible Spending Plan.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this. Any further discussion or comments? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Thompson,
Yes,
Benton,
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
motion carries. Item number 11 on our agenda this morning is the approval of the annual urban renewal report for the fiscal year 2020, 2021. This is an item we do on an annual basis. I'll entertain motions on this item, please.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the annual urban renewal report fiscal year 2020, 2021.
Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion or comments on this item? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Thompson,
Yes.
Benton,
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 12 on our agenda this morning is for discussion only. This is the new website for the county. The new agenda notification process is in the works. Our old BOS Notify has discontinued working. Staff is working on the new website, which includes a subscriber-based notification that will work similarly to that of the City of Marshalltown system. It is at bos@marshallcountyia.gov to receive an agenda notification during this transition. Agendas will continue to be posted on the public bulletin board located on the second floor of the bank. I know Sherry's been working on this with James. Do either of you want to make any comments or discussion on this?
One thing I will say is we're very close to standing up the new system, and that we have successfully exported all of the existing subscribers so that people will not need to go re-register from what we've seen. So if you are currently receiving, you will continue to receive once we get the automated process turned back on.
Just for clarification, so it hasn't been turned on yet, but anybody that it's going to be turned on?
Correct.
Okay, okay. So they wouldn't have received this one?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I had a couple questions and perfect.
And until it gets turned back on, if it's gonna be more than, we're not sure when it's gonna be turned
I
on,
was
so.
gonna say, I think by the next one, we'll be pretty solid. You've already done all the legwork, putting in the old agendas and minutes, it looks like, and, yeah, I think by 2 weeks from today, we'll be good.
Well, Mr. Chairman, at this point then, we need to approve this as, I would approve the new website.
I don't think we
We
need
don't have
to.
to?
No.
Okay.
It's
This
just
was
to
simply
inform
for
it.
discussion.
Yeah, because I know there's been some people that had signed up and had reached out saying they're not getting it, and we explained we're transitioning, because this is just part of the transition to the new county website too.
Yes.
So it's a big step.
Well, so we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on this matter? There being none, we're going to move on to item 13 on our agenda this morning, which is public forum. This is a time set aside for the public to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in the public forum. Anything for the good of the order?
I have a few items, but I'll start and then we can see if anybody online has any. Wanted to inform everybody at the last radio project meeting, the timeline has been updated a bit, and the completion date right now is September of 22. So I thought that was a big piece of information to kind of get that out there, so that originally it was a July timeframe, and as things kind of work their way down. Also, the paging system, the DICAL system, like many other products, things are back ordered, and that system should be up and running by Thanksgiving time. I think they told us that a couple meetings ago, which seemed like a long ways away, but it really isn't that far now, since we're in the middle of October already. So that was just a couple updates I had on the radio project. Let's see, what else do I have? We talked about the Civic Plus and how that is going to work. One conversation that Sherry and I have had is we don't know how some of the other boards put their information out there. For example, the VA Commission meets monthly, and if there's something that should be rolled under this, or what your thoughts are on that. So just kind of something to think about. I don't think we previously did that.
Basically, we've got, as you guys know, a number of boards and commissions that are fairly autonomous and not directly under the county, but we maintain their data. Board of Health, Veterans Affairs, just a handful of them. Some of them have submitted their agendas and minutes in the past to be put up on the website. Others have not. Last time I read the code, it's not mandatory as long as they're meeting their public requirements. It's always a good thing to be more transparent than less. And of course, we're always willing for them to post anything they'd like on our site, particularly if they're in our facilities. Usually we wouldn't put something up for an agency that's not part of the core county. Yeah, in the past, it's usually been hit or miss.
That the core county then would not include the assessor then?
It would, being in our facility and under, basically, if we pay their electric bill. Usually I consider them part of the core county. Landfill, for example, would not be. But assessor, VA, EMA, public health, probably CPC is under something completely different, but if you guys had meetings that you want to put up, because obviously that's regional more than local. But yeah, basically if you have in a Marshall County facility.
So then, do we feel like we need to contact these individual.
You guys sit on most of those commissions, so feel free to discuss it with the person who runs the division, so
Yeah.
Blaze for assessor. And
I think we need to visit with Blaze about it.
Sure.
And so we all understand where we're going.
And VA, you know, with the new director, you know, that'd be
Yeah.
a nice time
We don't
to,
actually sit on the VA.
right, so that's one I was thinking of when he said that, we don't sit on the VA board,
But
so,
we do appoint their people.
Right.
yeah, so reach out to Kevin, because Kevin's all about communication
Yes.
and
See,
things,
we-
so, which is actually my next thing after is a VA communication, so
Okay.
he's a big communicator. He
He's
likes to get it out there so people know what's going
I
on.
think so, yeah.
I have spoken to Kevin about following the proper procedures in all of those meetings, motions, seconds, taking the minutes. The fact that we're all about total transparency at the county, and he's aware of it and agrees with it. So I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Okay, my next item is a communication from Veterans Affairs. Kevin brought this down to me yesterday at the Election Center, but he's going to get it out to IT, to get out on our Facebook and some of that fun stuff. He is in the process of doing a local veterans food drive, and there'll be some information about it, and then the items will be distributed on the 23rd of October. So look for more info there. That's all I have. Oh, one more, sorry. Absentee voting begins tomorrow, the 13th,
Really?
Wednesday, the 13th, and we will be at the Election Center, which is the old fire station, 107 South First. And we will get a banner and some signage out there, so it'll look like we're voting. So it's a little later this year. That was due to the legislation change.
So now, Rosalie will have to go to Grundy Center.
Because you,
This would be, because we're BCLUW.
no, we have BCL, you live in the county, you will vote your BCLUW
So
here.
she can come in here and vote.
Mhm.
Okay. She just can't vote where she's helping.
She can't vote where she's helping because that's not her precinct. I don't think you guys vote in Clemens, do
Yeah,
you?
we do.
Oh, well, then she can vote there. She can vote that
Really?
day, yes,
Okay, that was what she was wondering.
yeah,
That will save her some time.
yes, it will.
Anything else for the good of the order? Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to make anything under public comment?
This is Kim with Emergency Management. Just kind of an FYI. I entered a notice of interest for the possible unincorporated area tornado sirens to be looked at through FEMA, through the hazard mitigation plan. So I am in the process of putting together a committee. I will be addressing the Board of Supervisors to have someone on that committee so that we can go out, find out where we want these, and then do the study, and then see if we're eligible through that hazard mitigation dollars. So something I've been kind of working on in the background for a while, and finally got the request back from FEMA asking for more information. So, and on that note, the hazard mitigation plan, I think we have 2 more partners that have to submit to our contractor for the update. And then our update is to go to FEMA for review and hopefully approval in another week and 2 days. So that is a huge process. We have to update it every 5 years. So at the 4-year mark, we start reviewing and working on it. And I know there's several entities out there waiting for this to finish up so that they can also move forward with their hazard mitigation grant applications. So we are in the process.
Kim, back to the sirens that you were talking about. What do we have? 5? Do we have 5 unincorporated towns in our
They
county?
Yeah, they don't have to go into the cities necessarily, unincorporated areas. They can go into housing developments also. So that's something we'll take a look at. I got an estimate from another county on what they paid per siren to purchase, install, and do the kind of the information prior to that, the footprint that the siren will cover. And so we now go out and get some estimates and see what that coverage would be. But yeah, that's what that committee would do, is sit down and find out where are the best place for these. We thought that 5 or 6 sirens out in the unincorporated areas would be what we could apply for. So we'll look and see what those areas look like and the most population that we can cover with a siren. These would not obviously be for any of the incorporated areas who could apply themselves for hazard mitigation funds for those sirens. And we have encouraged the hazard mitigation funds to be applied for year after year. We've had enough disasters that those funds have been open for some time. So it is a long process, but it is definitely worth it if we can bring some money back into the county and get something like that.
Kim, do you think if we get these grants, it would totally pay for all 5 sirens?
That's the goal. The goal is to pay for them from start to finish, from the study to the install. And I guess the upkeep would be something we need to look at too. So most of the time, the upkeep is not much. It's just a matter of making sure we test them and making sure that those batteries are good. So yeah, that's something we can look at too, is how much do we want to, if we need to put anything back. But I think we can possibly get some extra batteries for them, and they work through a relay with the radio system from the county. So they're set off by the communication center like the ones are now. But I think talking to that vendor, we can figure out what the lifespan of these are for the sirens and for the batteries.
Well, it'd certainly be wonderful if we could get that and continue our commitment to public safety, not only through the new radio towers, but this warning system. That would be wonderful.
It definitely
Kim,
is.
Kim, this is Steve. I'll plan on being a part of that committee, all right?
That would be great. I know that you had some good input when we were looking at where we might put them initially. So that would be great. I appreciate that. And I'll try to get maybe a couple more people that are out in some of those unincorporated areas that might want to be on the committee. I know Rhonda Broadus and myself will be on the committee. So if we can get about 5 people and then start our process, I hope to meet maybe before the end of October for an initial and then start getting some quotes. So that would be wonderful. Thank you, Steve.
Anything else under public forum this morning? There being none, I think we'll move on to item 14 on our agenda, which is adjournment. The next regular session is October 26th, 2021 at 9:05 a.m. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the county auditor recorder or the Board of Supervisors office by Wednesday, October 20th, 2021 at 12 p.m. There being no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned at 9:34 a.m.